There's a strange truth about World War II that modern survival culture still refuses to accept. Some of the smartest, most reliable, most field-proven survival gear ever issued didn't come from a high-tech lab, a boutique gear company, or a tactical R&D group. It actually came from 19-year-old soldiers fighting for their lives with the simplest tools imaginable. And even more shocking, much of that gear still outperforms today's so-called advanced equipment. When you study World War II field reports, survival manuals, and veteran accounts, you find one recurring theme. The most valuable gear wasn't the fanciest. It was the stuff that worked every single time, in fire, mud, snow, and starvation. What those soldiers carried created a blueprint for practical, no-nonsense resilience that we've somehow forgotten in the age of ultralight gadgets and fragile electronics. Let's walk through the kits that frontline troops depended on, and why their genius still beats modern gear in head-to-head reliability. The first item is the waxed canvas shelter half, a piece of equipment so brutally simple and adaptable that it makes many modern waterproof fabrics look, well, fragile. 2 soldiers each carried half of a tent. Snap them together, and you had a low, wind-cutting shelter that shed rain, resisted sparks, and didn't rip apart in the first storm. But the real brilliance was its multifunctional design. It doubled as a stretcher, a windbreak, a ground cloth, a poncho, or even a makeshift pack. Soldiers in Italy often used them to seal ruined farmhouses into insulated winter bunkers. Troops in the Pacific turned them into hammocks to stay off disease-ridden ground. Try that with today's lightweight nylon. It melts, tears, or fails under drag. The old fabric was heavier, yes, but it could be abused endlessly. Modern soldiers still envy that durability. The second piece was the humble Esbit stove, a pocket-sized metal box with fuel tabs that worked in rain, wind, or snow. Modern survival stoves often depend on, fragile valves, expensive fuel canisters, or multiple moving parts. But WWII soldiers relied on a stove that had none of those weaknesses. It burned even when wet. It required no maintenance. It heated rations silently, which was a crucial advantage in trench warfare. And honestly, it packed small enough to fit into the breast pocket of a field jacket. Veterans swore by it because it did one thing: flawlessly turn fuel into heat in the worst conditions imaginable. Even today, military and expedition groups keep Esbit copies in emergency kits, because nothing newer has fully replaced its reliability. The sewing kit, another item that sounds trivial but was absolutely mission-critical, saved more lives than most weapons. Not because it repaired uniforms, but because it repaired gear. Soldiers fixed torn packs, ripped boots, loose straps, damaged gloves, and shredded tarps. When you're living in mud, fabric rips constantly. When your boots fail, your feet fail. When your pack rips, your load becomes useless. A needle and wax thread kept people fighting, marching, and really alive. Modern outdoor culture loves to brag about ultralight minimalism, but ask anyone who's done serious long-term fieldwork. Repair gear is more valuable than half the gadgets on the market. Next comes the one soldiers universally praised, the WWII canteen cup, stainless steel, nearly indestructible, designed to sit directly on a flame. That single detail made it priceless. With one cup, a soldier could boil water, cook meat, heat rations, sterilize tools, brew coffee, and melt snow. It formed the heart of the field diet long before lightweight stoves and insulated bottles appeared. Modern cups are often insulated, coated, or shaped in ways that frankly prevent direct heating. They're comfortable, but less capable. The original cup remains in use today because it has no rival in pure functionality. The trench candles and emergency paraffin blocks were honestly another piece of forgotten genius. These things didn't just give light, you know. They were micro-heaters. Soldiers used them to heat dugouts, dry out their socks, warm their hands, and even keep small spaces free of frost. A single paraffin block could really take the edge off those freezing nights, all without giving off smoke or revealing your position. Modern LED lanterns, well, they give you light, sure, but they don't give you warmth. And in survival, warmth often matters more. Perhaps the most underappreciated item was the pocket emergency ration, hard biscuits, chocolate sugar tablets, tea and meat extract. This wasn't meant to be delicious. It was engineered for maximum calories, long shelf life, and honestly, high morale. Soldiers knew that as long as this ration sat unopened in their pocket, they had one more day of reliable fuel. It turned desperation into survivability. The idea has been diluted in modern MREs, which are, frankly, bulky and over-engineered. The World War II packet was compact, concentrated, and brutally simple. In survival, that's exactly what you want. Finally, the map case and waterproof document wallet, a piece of gear modern tech has ironically made people forget. Electronics die, batteries drain, screens crack. But paper maps, sealed in waxed canvas or oilcloth, survived monsoons, snowstorms, river crossings, and saltwater spray. World War II troops carried local maps, sketched landmarks, and kept critical notes because they knew navigation failure meant death. Those cases, honestly, still outperform modern plastic seals, especially in extreme cold, where plastics become brittle. The takeaway here is straightforward. World War II survival kits worked because they were built for failure. They assumed water, mud, fire, shock, cold, and chaos. Modern gear, well, it assumes convenience. If you want resilience, you study the era where failure wasn't just a setback, it was fatal. If you want more forgotten survival intelligence from the past, make sure you subscribe and share this video with someone who appreciates real field-tested knowledge.